Alrighty, so between my absurd ideas about seed, and then the 2.3 drip marketing, my imagination kinda ran wild about what would happen over the rest of the season. So this video is really what I woke up the channel for. Before I get started, let's knock out some warnings and disclaimers. First up, this video is all about speculation. In order to back up some of my ideas, I will be talking about story content. If you are not completely caught up on the story, and don't want any spoilers, then this is goodbye. This entire video just isn't for you. In fact, if you care about spoilers at all, then please skip this one. In the event that I predict anything that does happen in the future, I don't want anyone complaining that I ruined it for them. You have been warned. Also, similar to last time, this video is for entertainment purposes only, mostly my own. So I again offer no guarantees or promises that any of this will actually happen. I have access to the exact same information as any other ZZZ player, so none of this speculation is based on any privileged information. Are we all on the same page? Okay, let's do this. To start, let me briefly review my first set of predictions, the ones I tacked on at the end of my survey PSA. We're starting there because while I managed to be right about 2.2, I was wrong on my 2.1 prediction, where I predicted Zhao would show up. However, to quote myself, I originally wanted to put the girls here, the girls being Yuzuha and Alice. Without repeating the rest of that whole section, the short of it was that I thought we'd get some fun content if a faction called Spook Shack came out just in time for Halloween, and so I had bumped them to 2.3. Needless to say, when the 2.3 banners got revealed, I was immediately hyped. At this point, I don't even really care about the two new characters. I am convinced that we are, in fact, going to get a spooky Halloween-themed episode. In fact, I will be devastated if it turns out to just be a normal story chapter. I think that would be such a waste. All of the cards are already on the table. We've got the date. We've got the faction. Both of the new characters have been described as storytellers. We've still got Victoria Housekeeping and Mockingbird kicking around. And we've even invested in a haunted beach resort. I don't think there's any need to do seasonal events, but not doing a Halloween episode in patch 2.3 is like playing a royal flush and calling it a straight. It's just wrong. Honestly, I think the strongest argument against this happening would be the idea that the devs wouldn't want to bring the story to a halt just for a bit of fun. Thankfully, 2.2 has given me something to work with regarding that. Our first useful element comes from the usual place, Internaut. One of the new posts talks about seeing deceased loved ones in the miasma. This is on point for what little we know about miasma so far, but we can also give it a different name. Ghosts. And the 2.2 story gives us our second element. Isolde resurrected fallen Defense Force soldiers from miasma, which makes them zombies in my book. I think the 2.2 story will involve Spook Shack doing a lore dive into miasma and the spooky stories that surround it. That might be a little light for a whole chapter, so I also think we'll be getting some side story content in the form of a major Hollow Zero or Lost Void update. The 2.2 ending specifically called out Hollow Zero, and it's been a few patches since our last large update. And so with the story locked in, the rest of the patch can go wild. Here's some of my current thoughts. First, there's no such thing as bad press, so the beach resort is perfect for Spook Shack to intentionally haunt. Next, it's been a while since we've had an arcade event, and Bizarre Brigade has enough spooky elements that I think it would fit in if updated. It's also been a few patches since the last Bang Boo Fall Guys. Add in some new Bang Boo costumes to unlock, the new gimmicks they've added in recent levels, as well as the eerie new color scheme from the Exalted levels in 2.2, and I can easily see that event returning. And maybe we'll also get some new skins that are also costumes. Why not? And that's just updating previous content. The sky's the limit in terms of what the devs could do for something new. And if the chapter is going all in on fun, that's also got me eager to see the demos, the trailers, and the songs for the 2 new characters. We could all use a short break from childhood trauma, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they have in store for our Goat Summoner and Tentacle Lady. Especially Yidhari. It's been a while since we've had a really wild trailer like Jane or Bernice, so I'm hoping they've got something special cooked up for the pair in 2.3. Which is all to say that I'm expecting patch 2.3 to be one of the most fun patches they've ever released. I suppose we'll all find out in like another month when the dev talk hits. Moving on, that brings us to patch 2.4. I don't think it's a stretch to assume that we'll be getting Zhao and her faction, Krampus, in that patch. So let's take a minute to give the devs credit for that. If 2.3 is a Halloween episode, it'll run from mid-October through the end of November, which means that Krampus will come out in December. I don't think that'll be relevant to the story or the events in any way, but it does make me believe that the ZZZ dev team is amusing themselves with that scheduling and name. Anyway, we've already met Zhao, so what to do with that second banner slot? Part of me wants it to be Damian. In the Season 2 teaser, we do see him paired with Zhao wearing what looks like an HIA suit, and that makes me want to see what the devs would come up with for his kit. Damian is a very slimy corporate suit, so he'd be a very unconventional character. But I don't think he'll be on the banner. The biggest reason to me is the story. Damian is basically the last man standing at Porcelumex, and I assume that means he's now in charge. But Krampus is essentially an Eternal Affairs branch of TOPS, which is to say that unless Damian has secretly been working for Krampus the whole time, they are not on the same side. Damian is basically target number 1 for anyone looking for wrongdoing, anyone looking for someone to blame, and that's on top of anyone who thinks it's a great time for more vacancies in leadership. The way I see it, Damian is treading water in a sea of sharks, which is why he'll reach out to Phaethon, as he's in desperate need of trustworthy allies. So my best guess for the second Krampus slot is a new character that we haven't seen yet. Also, while 1.4 was the climax for Season 1, I do not see that being the case for Season 2. So I expect things to get rough for everyone in 2.4, as we build up to the season climax in patch 2.5. And for that climax, I'm expecting we'll be filling out Yunkui Summit's roster. The safest character I can throw on that banner, I think, is Zhao Guang, Shi Yuan's sister. We haven't even seen her yet, since she's still been up on Yunkui Summit, but she's been mentioned as our senior sister and stronger than her brother. That leaves our second slot. The worst idea I have for this slot is Yi Zhuang, Yi Zhuan's sister. There's been several hints of resurrection throughout Season 2's story, though it's been imperfect so far. This means we could get a successful one in the climax, but come on, that would completely jump the shark, doing something like that this early in ZZZ's story. Not to mention that the drip marketing would absolutely give it away early. Seeing the banner early would take all of the weight out of what I presume would be intended to be a very dramatic and heavy surprise if it did happen. The only way to avoid the drip marketing would be to skip beta testing the character, because leaks are gonna leak, and that would be a recipe for disaster. So I highly doubt that Yi Zhuang is going to happen as a character, though I do think they might come really close to resurrecting her as part of the climax in Yi Zhuan's story. I just don't think it'll stick. It'll be fleeting, like the memories that spawned it. My next plan, prior to playing the 2.2 story, was that I was going to point to Shi Yuan as a possibility. But then, I was going to pull him back, since considering how little we've seen, and since he has that smug and self-assured air, the cliche answer was going to be that he was working for the enemy the whole time, and so I was going to leave this spot blank. But now that I have played through the 2.2 story, and we do know that Shi Yuan is working with the Exaltists, I am putting him here. The new cliche is that he was a double agent the whole time. And I actually think that works. First, As a banner character, he and his sister seem to be Yijuan's strongest disciples, so he's got the proper power level for pulling a banner in Yunkui Summit. Second, I think they've done a good job of characterizing Yijuan. She's not all-powerful or all-knowing, but she is very clever and observant. When Yijuan tells us not to worry about Shiyuan running after Sarah alone, that makes me think she knows what's going on with Shiyuan and Sarah, and that she's not being betrayed. Third, they can reveal or expose him during the 2.4 story, so the drip marketing doesn't give it away. That might mean he gets captured, which puts him in danger and adds to the tension for the finale. And my fourth and final reason I have for putting Shiyuan on the banner is just because it means the climax's story gets to be built around siblings. We've got Yijuan and Yijiang, then we've got Shiyuan and Zhaoguang, and of course, Wise and Bell. So that's my prediction for the 2.5 banner. The Yi siblings, Zhaoguang and Shiyuan. With 2.6, I'm not really changing my previous prediction here, post-climax, just the patch number. If you want to put it on your calendar, I think it'll be Marchish. In patch 2.6, I expect we'll finally get the Angels of Delusion. And rather than repeat anything I said in my previous prediction, I think I can add something new. But in order to do that, first, I'm going to have to jump ahead and make some predictions about Season 3. For Season 3, there is a major plotline that ZZZ literally launched with that we desperately need to get back to. Yes, I'm looking at you, Fairy. Now, there were consistent seeds planted all throughout Season 1's story and events, driving us towards the Exaltists. So I don't think it's been a problem that we haven't gotten back to Fairy while we focused on them during the story in Season 2. But I do think it will be truly terrible writing if we don't finally start telling Fairy's story by Season 3. In addition to that, in Season 2, I think it's fair to say that there's been a consistent background theme of Earth and nature. We've got miners, porcelain, martial artists from the mountains, the ocean, whatever the heck is going on with Miasma, and there's been no shortage of Thyrans. I bring that theme up since I figure we'll see a huge shift when Season 3 goes Cyberpunk. And I can explain that idea using patch 2.6. If Season 2 still ends in 2.7, then in addition to having some fun after the climax with an idol group, 2.6 will also need to help set up the epilogue leading into Season 3. And what do we have in play in patch 2.6? Well, we've got corporations, shadowy organizations, hackers, AIs, and while we don't focus too much on cyborgs in ZZZ, we do have intelligent constructs. And will you look at that? We've got one of those in the Angels of Delusion. So in addition to bringing us back to 6th Street and watching Astra lead the Angels into the limelight, I also suspect we're going to see some rogue hackers, backed by their own AIs, start mucking about with the intelligent constructs in and around 6th Street, including the one in the Angels. Needless to say, I suspect she'll be one of the banner characters. I also think we'll be done with the Angels in a single patch, so I'm expecting one of those three to be a new A-rank character. I don't know enough to guess which, so I'll just leave the second slot blank for now. Which, of course, leads us to the final patch of Season 2, patch 2.7. If you watched my last video, then you already know half of what I'm going to put here. Yes, I did play through Flora's side story. I thought it was incredibly well done. And yes, I'm still going to stick to what I said. Let me just remind you first that this video is just supposed to be fun, mostly for me. So please bear with me as I put on a tinfoil hat, grab a pitcher full of Kool-Aid, and grasp a fistful of straws. For patch 2.7, I predict our banner characters will be S-rank attack agent Seed Sr. and S-rank rupture agent Billy. I don't think there's much need to explain that second one, so I'll just be focused on the first. Let's start with my weakest arguments. First up, look at that perfectly shaped butt. Why do that for a character if you're not also going to release them on a banner? Next, I'm going to take us back to the end of Flora's side story. This pose. We already had the other one. The devs have been using it just fine. There was no need to make this extra pose. This pose only exists to hurt us, to make us feel sad. And it works. Watch this. Exhibit A picture of Obel Squad. Exhibit B, that same picture with the swapped pose. B looks awful. B looks wrong. I thought the ending of Flora's character story was beautiful and important for her character growth. But I am not Flora. I see that slumped model and I still yearn to see it light up with life. Patch 2.2 is titled, "Do Not Go Gentle into That Good Night." Well, I say, rage. Rage against the dying of the light. So let's talk story. If 2.6 involved hackers and or AIs affecting intelligent constructs around 6th Street, then a natural escalation for the follow-up would be hacking the Defense Force. And will you look at that, Obel Squad has an empty shell free for hacking. I can see Seed's eyes glowing bright red as he becomes a threat to everyone around him. But there is a consistent theme for Obel Squad, which I mentioned in my previous video. More than a weapon. We saw it for both Seed and Flora, since it's arguably the theme of their animated short. We see it in Silver Squad. We see it in Orphe and Magnus. And it's a bit less blatant, but it's present in Trigger as well. Soldiers themselves are more than a weapon. They can be treated as disposable tools, but it doesn't make it true. So if the hacked shell of Seed should threaten Flora, I suspect you might see those red eyes flicker. And that's how this all starts. A spark. Once we've got a spark, now all we need are a few MacGuffins. We don't have to look very far for our first. Flora. Flora appears to be some kind of Helios Academy project. We know that she can affect intelligent constructs around her when she gets emotional, though she can't control it, and it tends to end poorly for said constructs. So let's keep looking. The biggest problem with fixing Seed is that his logic core is damaged. Intelligent constructs are either ancient tech, pre-Hollow Disaster, like Billy, or at least based off of them. Current science can't fix a damaged logic core, and even Flora admits that. So what we really need is some kind of, I don't know, advanced intelligence. Oh wait, I think we have a couple of those. And if they need any help, well, we've got Flora, and Grace, and Faithin, and to drag the corporations back into it, maybe even something like the Marcel Group. And finally, I've got just one more MacGuffin, a really heavy one. Remember when I was talking about patch 2.5? When I said that there was a thread of resurrection running through Season 2's story? Resurrecting a dead legendary hero would be jumping the shark. But fixing a broken construct? One that only really failed, but wasn't destroyed? One that's already loved by both the in-game characters and players alike? To paraphrase something said during Flora's side story, we are all just dots on the circle of life. Seed's dot stopped moving several years ago and has fallen behind us. But if we just keep moving forward, we'll circle around and our dots will eventually meet back up again. I think that might be a hell of a way to end a season, while still setting up new plots, factions, and problems for us to deal with in Season 3. So that's it. That's the madness that I felt I had to share. For now, I fade back into the shadows as I frantically fidget, waiting to see what'll happen in 2.3. I really want the devs to do a wacky Halloween episode. Thanks for listening.